Hello, everybody, and welcome to POAP Community Call number 27. Very excited to have you here tonight with us. Plenty of things for us to talk about. So, of course, I am Mr. Mojo, and I am glad to have you here. Superphiz, welcome up from the East Acre community. How are you?
Oh, thank you, Mr. Mojo.
And JENetics, who is lead over at POAPathon and Ultrasound Merch, up here as always. Great to have you on.
Hello, hello.
And get POAP's own Nixorokish up on the stage as well tonight. Always a pleasure to have you on.
Hello.
And Hanniabu from POAP and Project Sunshine, welcome up. Couldn't really get to you last week, but we're going to be able to get to you this time around. Good to see you being able to come up again.
Hey everyone, glad to be here.
But alright, so we do have a lot in store for you, but we use the DGen bot in order to distribute our POAP here in this call. JENetics, do you want to go ahead and describe to us how that works?
Absolutely. DGen is an app that was developed through, or I guess not an app, but it's a thing that was developed through Bankless DAO for distributing POAPs on Discord. Once the bot is started, which is now, you need to remain undeafened. Don't click that headset down in the bottom of the screen and stay on the call for 10 consecutive minutes. That also means that if you have poor or spotty internet connection, you may not be able to claim a POAP. I'm sorry about that. Stay on the call, don't jump from call to call, and interact with us down on the Community Calls channel. That's where we're going to be chit-chatting.
That's right. And I'm also going to go ahead and throw a link to our Slido there as well. This is a place where you can ask us questions, give feedback, anything you want. It is a Reddit style forum where you can upvote anything that you see on there. And I would like to see some participation in that. I post it every week, but not many people actually want to do anything on it. I promise I look at it, everyone. So please participate in that if you can. But we're going to go ahead and jump straight into the content of this call. So there was something that I guess I could say we had noticed this past week. So one of the trials and tribulations that some POAP creators had went through was being able to have a nice animated POAP to be able to give out during their events. Well, POAP now has your back. You can now create your POAP events with GIF files, everybody. That's right. I mean this totally genuinely. What a day to be alive, everyone. GIF files for POAP creation.
That's me clapping.
Yes, it was a long time coming, but it is now here.
Wait, what? What's here? I was zoned out.
Yes, I'm actually going to post a picture of it in the community calls chat. Would you look at that? I took a screenshot of it. You can now do a PNG or GIF format up to 4 megabytes. So, yes.
Oh, this makes my life. Y'all don't even understand how much easier this makes my life. So before, if I created an animated POAP on my phone or iPad, I then had to save it and drop it via Google Docs or whatever to my computer and then save it as an APNG to upload a POAP. And this removes that step for me, which means I can create animated POAPs on the go, such as if I am stuck in the airport for a 4-hour plane delay, which 100% happened getting to NFT NYC.
Okay, can I tell you this? This really brings about the future of the most awesome POAP gallery. Like a personal gallery is going to be one where GIFs from different POAPs interact with each other. Do you know what I'm saying?
Ooh.
Like if I have 5 POAPs, they need to like demonstrate a dog running across the screen. That would be like challenge unlocked.
So that would basically mean some community gave out 5 POAPs and you minted them all in a row in the correct order?
That would be too easy. I mean, I would want to up the standard a little bit. It would have to be very challenging.
Well,
Like
what's your
maybe
thought?
you're an artist and you create POAPs for 5 different communities. That kind of
Oh, so
Oh.
it's like the animated GIF scavenger hunt, right? So
something like that. I
so
just yeah.
you have to go around to these different communities and mint them in the correct order in order to
Well, and then because app.poap.xyz shows them, I think 4 on a row, you would have to like fill up a row. Anyway, it's just gonna happen. That's all. And that whoever does it will be my POAP hero. It might be me. It might be my own POAP hero.
You're gonna be your own hero.
Yeah.
You're gonna take matters into your own hands.
That
But-
phrase makes me uncomfortable.
The ends will justify the means, right?
Yeah.
I was thinking about like I'm with Silly, with one pointing at another POAP and then like making a silly face POAP. That's where my thought went.
Something I'm actually kind of interested in, has GitPub actually considered doing like animated POAPs now that you can use GIF format, or is this something that's like going to have to be considered now? Oh no, I hope I can't hear Nixorokish, unfortunately. I hope that's not on my end.
We lost her.
Oh no.
There she is. Maybe not.
I'm not able to hear her, unfortunately. Well, perhaps if she leaves and comes back, maybe it will work. Well, as we wait for that, though, I don't know if there's any animated Git POAPs, but I think that'd be kind of cool. RV, he leads the art over there, and man, he's such a great guy. Me and him really connected well in Amsterdam. Like, I'm telling you, like, me and this dude were like soulmates, man. He's such a great guy. I would actually love to have him come on here. I need to talk to him about that, but I'm pretty sure that he could think of some great ideas for animated Git POAPs.
When he made the POAP for Project Sunshine, it was very nice working with him. He's very patient. Had no problem doing multiple iterations of the design. Definitely a great experience. There she is. You talk now?
You guys hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Perfect.
Yeah, so GitPOAP has discussed whether or not we want to do animated POAPs, and at this juncture we're not doing it because the idea is a GitPOAP gallery is going to be sort of your resume in like some respect, and we don't want it to be super distracting. Like, I don't know if you guys when I look at my POAP gallery, it's a degree of distracting because I have one that like is a dog like spinning around, and I have to take that off of my screen whenever I'm doing anything because it's extremely distracting in the background or on the side. So
yeah.
talked about it and we're open to it, but right now we've decided to like hold off on doing anything animated.
The great thing is that you could always pull out the POAP metadata and show everything in text form as well. Gets a nice, more distraction-free version alternative.
To confess, like, I am not obsessed with animated POAPs. Like, to me, they seem a little less. They seem more gimmicky, I guess. And for me, my POAPs are like, they stand for the event behind them, not the gimmick in front of them. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
I don't know. I mean, I had my You've Met Me POAP is animated, and I got so many comments and like people being like, oh, animated POAPs, because they'd never received an animated POAP before. And so that was pretty cool to see people's reactions. And I think there are certain POAPs that if they are done correctly, they look fabulous. And that's the kind of stuff that I want to see in the future. I'm trying to pull one up here that we had done in our community. There we go. At POAPathon, you've met James Carnley, and it's always animated, and that's the kind of GIF I want to see.
Yeah, something
James
that
Carnley
is too
is
distracting.
one of my personal heroes, by the way.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
This brings up like a kind of a topic that we talked about right in the beginning, which was the quality and quantity of POAPs, which is like you want to be able to for anyone to issue, oh, this is my fun, crazy, quirky POAP, but you also want to be able to differentiate and be like, okay, but here are the POAPs that I'm really proud of, and these are the ones that are like meant, like really signify that I did something important or did something like a little bit more high quality than going to the grocery store.
Does anyone
Yeah.
know,
Yes.
like, is there a feature anywhere of like a featured POAP selection so you can choose your favorites and just kind of like highlight those? Does anybody have that yet?
There is on the Get POAP website. I'm just
Yep.
What?
showing that a little bit.
There's also, if you are on the gm.xyz social network, they have the ability to select your favorite POAPs as well.
Oh,
I did
cool.
not know that.
Mm-hmm.
Very exciting.
If I remember correctly, I think POAP.in might also support that as well.
Yeah,
They
it
are
seems like
a
they would.
lesser known application.
Yeah, I actually
What-
donated to them during Gitcoin round 14 and got a POAP for it. An animated
What do you
POAP.
put that in?
Yep, it's like
Yeah, that's
it's
the
like
website.
POAP
They have
pin.
a the URL. They have a website as well as an app.
Cool.
They're doing some nice stuff in terms of searchability and categorization of POAPs. But I think it might be a one-man operation. So uh, moving along, not at the fastest pace, but doing good work nonetheless.
So, it is kind of interesting though now that the process to make these animated POAPs, it's gotten easier now because you don't have to go through finagling trying to make it work. So, I wonder how many more we're going to end up seeing since it's become easier. Like the barrier to entry is lower because now you don't have to worry about something like that or trying to figure out how to convert it over, or even sizing. Now you get a little bit more size as well on your file.
Telling
So
me that there's a new POAP design interface. I think maybe Bert was telling me about that. Like a new way to like a new. So we use admin.poap.x or sorry app.poap.xyz/admin events, but he was saying that there's a new interface that was superior. So I'm kind of looking forward to see that. Has anybody seen it?
Yeah, it actually is very nice. It's currently in testing. It's going through an iterative product process. So we're getting user feedback, improving it. Just going through the general agile cycles. In terms of like ETA of when it will be public, I do not know. I don't have an answer for you at the moment. But yeah, it is very nice. It'll be much more user friendly. It'll solve a lot of the issues that we've heard from feedback sessions. So Superphiz, you said you haven't seen it?
Yeah, that was. I have not been in a feedback session, so should probably. Maybe I need to check my DMs.
That's a hint to Zach if he's listening. So yeah, whenever that comes out, I think a lot of people will be very happy. When I saw it for the first time, I was kind of blown away. It's miles ahead of current UI.
I thought the current UI was like strategically 1990s.
Like a lot of things in Web3.
Yeah,
is- that is the first POAP creation UI. It has been like I've been using it for 3 years. So, and in fact, they don't even tinker with it a lot. So it's well overdue for a really great update, which
My
is good.
fir-
Like it works.
Yeah,
I
my
heard.
my
Oh, go ahead.
first experience of that I felt like was you don't feel like a user on that side of the platform. You feel like like it you sends you to an admin site, and I kind of felt like, should I be here? Is this too much power? I don't like having the term admin.
Well, I love to troll people by like when I create a POAP, I'll paste a link to that, and they'll say something like, "I don't think I'm supposed to be here."
Um, yeah, I was told recently that the extremely retro website look was actually back in vogue. So I was, like, we can say that it's on purpose, but also be open to maybe some new um, innovations.
Yeah, nice fresh lick of paint on it, right? Few different
Yes.
pathways you can take maybe here and there. All right, so very excited to see that GIF files can now be used with POAPs, but I think it's time to move on to our next topic. In JENetics, you wanted to champion this one, so
Did we just spend 2 hours talking about how we can use animated GIFs?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So, the token proof partnership with POAP, you wanted to talk about a little bit, and then we're going to go into some community discussion. So, going to go ahead and give you the stand.
Absolutely. So I got to interact with Token Proof while I was at NFT NYC. I went to 3 different parties that used Token Proof. So Token Proof is, or Token Proof introduces safe token gating solutions, enabling users to prove ownership of NFTs without connecting or even carrying their wallet. This is for users. It allows them to prove ownership of NFTs online and during real world events without the need to connect your digital wallet. It unlocks endless possibilities with unlimited use cases to leverage the power of your tokens without the risk of theft. You can set your token collection free today with the complete peace of mind. For token verifiers, it introduces a seamless token-gated solution to customizable process access policies. Holy cannolis. Granularly configured. Anyway, lots of talk. What this means, though, is that with token proof, you can use it to authenticate token-gated websites, Discord servers, allow lists, and e-commerce sites, as well as what they said before, IRL events. So I do have a video that I filmed on my phone of myself using the opening up the token proof app. So let me drop that real quick into the channel while we're sitting here talking. And I also have a video off of their website that shows it being used at South by Southwest, I believe, here in Austin, which is where the founder is from. So here you go. Now, what's really, really cool about this is that Token Proof actually has built-in POAP integration. So when you go to an event that has a POAP and they scan your ticket, it automatically sends you a POAP. You don't have to putz around with anything at the event or claim anything afterwards. It just automatically shows up in your POAP wallet. Now, what's really cool is a lot of people don't know about this. And so I was talking on a Web3 Twitter call, which you guys should join. A little pump on that one. It's in the mornings, Monday through Thursday. And that the people on that call had gone to ApeFest and they opened up their POAP wallet and there they found ApeFest POAPs. And they were like, this is dope. They were so excited. So I think the automatic integration of POAP as being just like, bam, it's there is super, super cool.
Yeah, it kind of leads into sort of talking about what we're going to discuss in our community discussion topic this week. And so that is going to actually be consent within NFTs and POAPs. So sort of the style right now with token proof is that you have your NFT on your wallet somehow. It's using zero knowledge proofing, if I'm not mistaken. And so, you're able to say, hey, look, I have this NFT, and you don't have to put any of your assets at risk. And so you're able to scan into these gated events and stuff. Well, since it's going to know what your wallet is, it can send you a POAP automatically. And so the argument that I want to make right now is that isn't necessarily what should happen. While I think it's great that, yes, you're able to tell that the person showed up And like, yes, it's definitely them, and they do deserve the POAP. Minting it straight to their wallet isn't necessarily the route you want to take. Maybe they don't want to have a POAP on that particular wallet and stuff like that. Is there anything else that any of you want to bring up in that regard before I just take all the talking time on that?
A bit of two sides on that. I have been very strong about like in I think there are different types of events. We know there are different types of events. So, like for example, a you have met POAP. When it comes to a you have met POAP, I think that consent is definitely a thing. But I think there are also other kind of interactions where consent is somewhat implied. And I do think so wallet activity that so maybe you have we're giving a POAP for people who have done 1,000 wallet transactions. I do think that POAPs like that kind of require less consent because they're not revealing something that's not already on chain. So let's say that so for our Kiln validators, let's say I use my address to validate on the Kiln network. We did actually send a POAP for that, but I think that it would be just as okay to airdrop because the data already exists on chain. You're not revealing something that isn't already obvious.
Mm-hmm. Now, I can also give the argument as well for those Kiln validators. What if they didn't want it on that address? What if they would have preferred to have it on a main wallet? What if the Kiln validator that they had doesn't align with the one that they would have POAPs on?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we're getting to something that's like a preference rather than like a security or privacy issue.
Sure.
Because when it's a preference, we're addressing kind of a different feature. And for that kind of thing, like I would say, well, in many ways, like you might have thought about that when you created your account. Maybe you used a known address or a POAP wallet to engage with Kiln so that you would receive any rewards at that address.
It's
Even though
also
I guess
just
people
it's also just not that important to think about that because that is a preference and not a privacy or a security issue. That can be figured out later. Whereas like the preference, the security and privacy issue we need to get right first because otherwise that data is on chain forever.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
they're experimenting, and they're kind of paving the way for this. They're doing a lot of work in terms of being first for this stuff. They're the first real app that we have for token gated events, POAP gated events, uh, that has a very polished experience. And yes, they may mess up here and there, but I mean that's part of experimenting. You see what works, see what sticks. And this may be a fix as simple as giving people a prompt and be like, "Hey, do you want to automatically accept to here?" Like Fizz said. Um, but yeah, you experiment, see what works, and I think that's very healthy. It explores territories that we may not think of ourselves. And we encourage all of the builders that are building on the POAP API to kind of have that mindset, pave the way, explore something new, try different things. So if
Yeah.
there are any builders out there, feel free to check out our documentation at documentation.poap.tech. Little plug there. And yeah, we love to see what you have to build.
Yeah, one of the things that I encountered when I was at NFT NYC was people being leery about minting POAPs because you use either scanning QR codes or you use the RIFD chips, like with IYK. And people were scared that they were going to get their NFTs rugged if they connected via POAP. And I always said, well, either use your email address, which is so Web2, or use a burner wallet. And that means that you have to, if you want that POAP in your main wallet afterwards, you have to go through the whole process of transferring it and remembering to transfer it. The nice thing about token proof is it actually allows you to have multiple hot and cold wallets connected to the app, which is nice.
There's also a huge education element in there that is no one can rug your POAPs unless you as the private key controller authorize anything. So by scanning a QR, by delivering an address, the most that someone can do is send you something that you might not want, but they cannot, modify the things that you control within the wallet. And that's really just an education piece, I think.
Flip side of that, look at it a different way. I think it would be. I think we want to kind of look at the future. How do we get to the point of where we don't even need to educate? How do we get to the point where people don't even know that they're using the stuff that they are using? Because I mean, when you think about the future, that's kind of the direction that we have to be heading if we want mainstream adoption. And you can't expect your normal layman to understand all this stuff. It'd be nice if they did, but I mean, if we're being realistic, it's just not going to happen. And I mean, I would love for people to understand it. What's that?
I see the future of that as being true. So right now you can claim POAPs associated with your email for temporary storage, but I think for most people that will end up being a I think there needs to be a deeper connection between your email and your account. And until people are ready to dive into Web3, I think that they ought to have the opportunity to simply use their email account as their POAP storage until they say, I want to take ownership of this and transfer it to a real Web3 wallet. But that, again, like, I think the tools are there for that. It just hasn't been implemented.
I agree with that. Do you guys remember when NFT season was getting really crazy last year, and there was this whole movement to get credit cards onboarded onto OpenSea?
And that takes aping into a whole nother level.
Yeah, I mean, the point being that people were adopting NFTs, but not quite ready to be on chain. And I haven't seen anything about that lately. I don't know if they ended up doing anything like that, but people needed a stepping stone.
Reddit is another good example. I believe right now they are functioning off of Polygon for their like avatar store that they have. They have a new avatar store. They don't mention crypto or NFTs anywhere. They just call them collectibles, which I believe is the right move. Just abstract all that tech speak away. And yeah, you just buy using traditional methods. No wallets involved. I do believe they want to integrate wallets later on, but at least at this point in time, they're not involving it.
That's really when people are ready. Let's allow people to become aware crypto based without pushing that narrative, because so many people right now are going to be turned off by NFTs in general, by cryptocurrency in general, and so rather than forcing that awareness on them, like, let them experience the benefit, and then eventually when they're ready find out that they're using crypto and, oh, didn't know that was there.
I definitely agree with that approach, and I think that's a big mistake that Discord made. I mean, Discord has so much potential for first class integration, but they came right out the gate talking about it, talking about the part that they shouldn't talk about. And, that gave everyone a chance to, take out the pitchforks and attack them. And, they eventually backed down. And that's why we have other applications like Nifty Chat.
Like Nifty
trying
Chat,
to
yes.
take their spot.
So this conversation that we're having too, it also kind of leads into sort of a discussion on should POAPs be soulbound then? Any thoughts on, or any more thoughts? I know that we've spoken about like the potential of POAP to be soulbound, but is it something that POAP should do?
I think it makes sense, and I'm totally for that. I think most people are. I think the bigger question that people struggle with is should they be wallet bound, or rather address bound?
100% agree with that sentiment. I've heard so many people talk about whether or not things should be soul bound, and while I think wallet bound is a terrible idea, I think soul bound is a great idea.
Yeah. I think a lot of people that I encountered at NFT NYC, due to some compromising behaviors that happened at Consensus, um, which y'all don't connect your wallets to things you don't know about. But a lot of people didn't even have their main wallet on their phone. So when they went to these IRL events and wanted to claim a POAP, they were claiming it to their burner wallet. And that would mean that POAPs are on burner wallet, which again is what Superphiz said about preference of wallet versus actual need. But I think as long as your POAP stays with you as the bookmark to your memories, which is what they are, it should be fine.
Yeah, I think one of the questions, there are a couple questions swarming there. The first one being, what is the value of a POAP? Like, is selling POAPs something that we should promote or encourage? And if so, what is the value of a POAP and why would someone want to sell it? Um, that kind of helps us get to what like the underlying meaning of POAP and what we're really trying to accomplish. Because um, I don't think that like I recognize some are valuable. For example, like a DevCon 1 POAP would be very valuable. I think DevCon 2 is when POAP started. So like a DevCon 2 POAP would be very valuable. But the fact that it's valuable, does that mean that it's something that should be commoditized and traded? Or is it something that should um, be considered a valuable or priceless item? Like it's so valuable because of what it is to that person that it shouldn't be sold. That's really kind of the question we have to answer before we
Mm-hmm.
get to should we be allowed or able to move them, is like what is their value?
POAP poachers is still an issue, like at least online. It's harder to do that when you're IRL. Like show up to an event, scan the POAP, and leave sounds like a lot of effort. But in the digital space, POAP poaching is still a big thing. And the reason that they're doing it is because things like token proof are integrating POAP into exclusive offers. In fact, I have a tweet from Fonz, who was on the show Overpriced JPEGs, a part of the Bankless HQ podcast series, where he talks about some of the integrations that he sees POAPs having in the future, such as discounted tickets to future events. And then we also have um, the other side of things where like Known Origin has a reward system that if your community is receiving POAPs for supporting, you having conversations and being there present with you as you develop your art, you can actually set up allow lists using those POAPs or sale prices for your NFTs or early access for those people with those POAPs. So I do see why people are hunting, especially like the big name ones such as Wanderers, the Ape Fest POAPs, all of those things.
Well, check this out. Are they trying to reward the person who holds it or the person who earned it? And I very strongly argue that they're trying to reward the person who earned it. And so
Yes.
if I can somehow snag two of, some kind of, I don't know what they are, but the apes POAPs, then um, the intention is to reward me as the earner, but I may be tempted to say, wow, this is worth $500 to someone else. So let me unload it to them. And then at that point, the vendor who wants to reward someone, like their data is muddled. it's dirty data, because then you're not rewarding the people who earned it, you're rewarding whoever was willing to pay for it, which kind of reduces the value of holding POAPs in general.
On the other hand, you can always get the list of addresses that were the original claimers. So that information is still there. Not readily accessible right now. Maybe we make tools to make that more accessible. And yeah, I mean, because I agree with you that if they do want to reward the initial claimers, but we're left in this environment where there are a bunch of people that try and buy them to reap the benefits, and it's only allowed because we they probably just don't have the tools in order to control that. Maybe if we did provide the tools, that would allow them to have the control over that, and they could decide to only reward the original claimers.
Yeah, I think a lot of this is, I think we're in the baby steps of decentralized society, and I think that POAPs have potential to be a cornerstone of that decentralized society, but it will require that kind of soulbound nature, and so it kind of it when they become soulbound, you had mentioned being able to pool the original distribution list. That kind of work isn't really something that a vendor's going to want to deal with, but when they can reward a known user base, and it's like a trusted data set from the outset, I really think that that's going to increase the value of the POAP platform, even
Absolutely.
though POAPs themselves won't have the same tradability.
I think when we're speaking about that, you have to make sure that the POAPs that you're distributing are getting into the hands of the people that you want them to initially. And so that's why POAP has taken such a hard line on what they're going to allow you to do as a POAP drop, right? I know that at NFT NYC, a lot of the artists that were wanting to do POAPs got turned down because they were still using the older methods of distributing POAPs. And so they would come to me as like the POAP maxi, right? And be like, I got turned down. It's taking forever to approve. What's going on? And then I would ask them, how are you going to distribute those POAPs? And they would say, oh, a stagnant QR code. And I'm like, well, right there, that's your issue. Because the stagnant QR code is where people can copy that, post it in these POAP poaching Discord groups, which there are, and then that all of the POAPs that you wanted to distribute to those people, your actual community, end up getting sniped by a different group of people that you did not want sniping them. POAP is trying to prevent that by education, but it's slow, and it's also frustrating those who want to give out POAPs.
Yeah, it kind of goes back to the issuer guidelines that had came out last Wednesday, where they talk about being a responsible issuer, being a good citizen, and things like that, where you, especially if you want to use your POAPs to reward your community, you have to really be cognizant of how you're giving them out and what you intend to use them for, and the kind of people that can come because of that, or like the ones who want to actually try and like get that POAP, you know what I'm saying? So, yep. But all right, this has been a good discussion. I guess we can have some fun words in this, but I do want to get talking about Project Sunshine here if we can. So, any last words about this topic, anyone?
Right ID.
Yes, Sprite ID.
That's
Yeah,
my
I was,
last
I was
word.
actually gonna ask along those lines. What solutions are there available to maintain soulboundness? Try to keep things soulbound. I
Well,
know
so
Bright ID is attempting to do that. Is there anything else? Is there any other things that are in research that don't actually have applications out yet?
I would say Bright ID. We're looking at like kind of a level level system where coordination. Well, the system kind of begins with spam prevention, and that would be like not letting, like not dumping a bunch of codes and people claiming them. And then a next level would kind of be like Sybil resistance, and that is a focus on making sure that real, actual people are able to claim individual POAPs, and that is where Bright ID comes in. And then a level beyond that is soulboundness, where when real, actual people have claimed individual POAPs, they are linked to one account that begins to represent the shape of that person. Um, and the best part of that is all of those can be completely anonymous. Like there's no need for any wallet that's connected to anything else in your life to kind of reveal your identity. You can do all of those completely anonymously, but it is a bit of a continuum. And I've really been pushing or talking out about the need for broad idea integration, but it's not. There's some talk, but no current formal action that I'm aware of. There are developers who are like, oh yeah, we could do this and this, but I haven't seen code yet.
The follow-up question to that. I know you are more security conscious. So, how would you feel about using biometrics to back up the soul-bound aspect? Not tied to your. I mean, inherently, sure, people can connect the metadata and stuff, but without having actual KYC, how would you feel about using biometrics to identify
Yeah,
you unquote?
I would draw a real line when it gets to biology crossing over the technology barrier. That is where something like Bright ID is valuable. Like the five of you in here, you know that I'm Superphiz. You could pick me out of a lineup, and you could use your phone to say, yes, that dude standing there with this phone and that QR code is Superphiz, and I know that for sure. That's a level of social recovery that I think is fantastic. Um, it's possible that in 20 years it will become a biology or a biologically based identification, but that makes me extremely uncomfortable right now. And I think it's one of
Yeah,
those like should be opt in.
I expected that answer from you because I feel the same way. But now this is where my real question was. How would you feel if it was protected via ZK proofs?
uh, it's not that I don't think these things will happen. I just don't think anyone is ready for them. Like I'm not ready for it. But when the technology matures and um, it's honestly it's a little bit like a vaccine. When there's so first we have like the potential for a vaccine and everybody's like, I don't know if it's going to work, and then the vaccine gets deployed, and I'm like, I'm not going to be first. Let me watch. Let me wait for a month and watch everyone else try it. And then after that, I'm like, oh well, okay. Now I know there's a vaccine. Now I know that it works, and now I know that it's safe. Okay, I'm willing to try it. I don't think many of us are at that point with biometrics as it relates to cryptocurrency yet. But I do think, in 8 or 20 years, that it's going to be something that we're more comfortable with.
Well,
That's
and
interesting. When you go ahead.
oh, when we talk about biometrics, are we talking about Face ID, or are we talking about like, retinal scanning, Touch
I mean,
ID?
phones right now typically support both fingerprint and I mean, pretty much anything with a camera. I think is capable of supporting the face biometrics. Um, yeah, at the end of the day, all that I believe could be protected using ZK proof, so all that stays contained and private and
Yeah.
isn't exposed to the rest of the world.
Yeah, because if we're talking about biometrics like your DNA, if you have a bone marrow transplant due to health issues, you may actually have two different sets of DNA in your body for the rest of your life. So that's where we get into like biometrics are even hackable in a completely not nefarious way. And the same thing, like if you have cataracts, you may not be able to use the retina scanning, or if you work construction jobs, your fingerprints may change enough that you can't use your fingerprint. It'll be interesting to see how Face ID works as a person ages and whether it can still recognize people biometrically, even though, you know, when they got their iPhone and set up their Face ID, they were 20. But now, you know, they're 93.
In line with what Superphiz was saying too, I think ZK Tech is going to be really cool for that kind of integration. But first, people have to know what ZK Tech is and like how to trust it before they can upload that kind of data and feel comfortable with it. Not that people have to feel comfortable with it, because I thought it was extremely dystopian. People started using fingerprints for phones, but that's been widely adopted and there's no question about that. So I think the question of ZK Tech is going to depend on whether or not people understand what it even is.
We had a really similar discussion earlier about Reddit and implementing NFTs there, and we kind of had the same iterative conversation of, yes, it's moving in that direction, but we don't want to dump it in people's lap before they're ready for it. I think we're having the same conversation again.
Yeah.
I kind of think that we also might live in a bubble. You know, a lot of crypto people are very privacy focused. But, you know, a bunch of the new Apple products, phones and laptops, they all have the fingerprint scanning to log in. And, you know, for the most part, I think newer generations are completely used to it. And, you know, especially you, Fizz, no offense, but you're on the upper age limit in
What?
terms of users in crypto.
Dun dun
The
dun.
70 or over crew. Thank you, Hanny.
Yeah.
Sorry, pardon me
The
while I
graying crew.
let's see. Move to audience.
Yes.
But yeah, I think a lot of the younger generations, you know, it's I don't think they, and, you know, it'd be good to do the research, but by my gut, from what I've observed, I don't think they give a second thought to it. And you know, some it might be that they just don't care. Others might be that the convenience is important to them. Others might be that they just aren't aware of the dangers. But one way or another, it seems like it's not the same concern that we have. You know, we grew up reading about you know, 1984.
Yeah,
I
that
forget the
too.
name of the book. Yeah, so you know, we grew up being taught that stuff, and we're more wary of the potential dangers that can come of that.
In defense,
That I just said.
in defense of the younger generation, they actually might be becoming more sophisticated about the kinds of data that they're okay giving up, because like we were afraid of giving up our fingerprints and our eyes because we saw like Minority Report, and we were like, oh, the government's going to track you. But that kind of data is actually not very important in your day-to-day, like companies buying your data um type of, like the things that are being released. That's not actually as important as we thought.
Yeah, that's another angle as well. So it does come down to, okay, what risks are there in reality, not just in theory. So yeah, territory. Great feedback from everyone. That's interesting to hear the different points of views. I guess time will tell. We'll see where we're heading.
Yes, but all right. So, Hanny, you are leading over at Project Sunshine. We got about 10 minutes left. And I don't want to have to pull you up for a third week in a row. So, Superphiz, let's get some alpha out of Hanny here about Project Sunshine, shall we?
Yeah, I need Hanny. How old do you think I am? Like totally honest.
Oh man. Okay, let's see. Um, that is a good picture that you have as your profile picture. I have seen
It's
you
16
live.
years old.
uh, if I had to guess, I would say
Yes. Sorry, do it.
42. I'm kind of regretting that already. No, I'll
Okay,
stick
yeah,
with it.
because I'm definitely not even in my 40s yet. So
Yeah.
Oh,
Poor
okay,
yeah.
fish.
I'm time to move
Once I
on.
said it, I was like, no, he's probably late 30s.
No, don't do that.
He's
Yeah.
well beyond 40 actually at this point.
All right, let's move on to to ethsunshine.com.
I don't know what the truth is
No.
anymore.
Hanny, how did you come up with this incredible idea?
Sure. So, previously I've done work on the staking client diversity for consensus clients, as well as execution clients. Thanks to the guidance of Superphiz and others at ETHStaker, I was able to build out. Oh man, I'm having a blank. Superphiz, help me out here.
Whoa, I'm the old one here.
This is my baby here. Help me out. What's it called? I'm having a huge mental block.
Oh, I'm not going to
Man.
rescue you at all. Like,
Oh, this is embarrassing. Okay,
oh
moving on.
no. All
Moving
right, this is
on.
getting fun.
So, I was working on a site that concentrated on.
Clientdiversity.org.
Oh, jeez. Thank you. It's so obvious in hindsight.
I'm
Have me
surprised
sweating
Nix
over
didn't
here.
bail you out.
Watching me suffer. Yeah, so I mean that's a project that became very successful. It was featured in a lot of conference talks and a nice source of information in terms of educating users on the risk of client diversity. Over time it became real successful where we're able to uh, increase the diversity, and Prism no longer has a supermajority. So in addition with everyone else that's been pushing along this effort. Um, One day, Superphiz came up with the idea of having a dashboard monitor the health not only of uh, the execution and consensus clients, but other measures for decentralization within Ethereum. And given my past work with clientdiversity.org, he reached out to me and said, "Hey, would you be interested in this?" Or rather, I saw your tweet. That's what it was. I saw your tweet. I was like, "Hey, I'll do this. Sounds like a fun project." And I launched ethsunshine.com. I don't know if somebody wants to
Already
post the
done.
link.
Yeah,
That's hard
it's
to do.
linked
Okay.
in the community calls channel.
Perfect. So it is a dashboard to monitor the health of Ethereum's decentralization. Why? We all know that decentralization is important. It creates resilience and robustness within the network. But you can only decentralize what you can monitor. So what this does is it aggregates all this data to one place. And this is just a starting point. The plan is to expand it. Actually, the next metric that will be added is stablecoin diversity. So measuring the market share of decentralized stablecoins versus the more centralized stablecoins like USDC. This is a growing resource. It's going to be expanding. There's going to become much more information available on there. But one of the things that I like about it is it doesn't just let you monitor the health of the network. There will also be resources on it that help point you in the direction of how to improve it. Because sometimes it's very easy to tell that there's an issue. You get stuck on how to actually fix that. So hopefully this goes a long way in helping the Ethereum community protect against centralization, because that is an ongoing effort. You know, you can never sleep on it, because once it's too late, it's very hard to go back. Yeah, so it's a project I'm very excited about. It's actually in GitPOAP's program. So if anybody were to create a pull request and it gets merged in, you can go ahead and claim a GitPOAP for that. I don't know if anybody has the POAP to actually paste in the chat. That'd be awesome as well. I think it's linked in our document. But yeah, I'm going to stop talking now. If there's any questions.
I want to point out that like this is one of those sort of low hanging fruit in terms of Git POAPs that someone who may not, so maybe you can't contribute to a client, maybe you aren't ready to do something extremely complicated. This is one of those projects that if you look deep enough, you're going to find an opportunity to add some text or to clarify something. And that's like a really valuable opportunity to earn one of these Git POAPs. And I'm seeing it now in the community calls channel.
I'm on it.
I believe these POAPs, the Git POAPs, are more valuable, or at least more valuable than many POAPs, because they require some kind of effort on your part. A lot of POAPs you get just for existing, like, hey, I showed up here, give me my POAP. But when it comes to a Git POAP, you're actually you have to think, you have to engage, you have to have a GitHub account, you have to make a pull request. It takes, maybe some time to even learn how to use GitHub. And so I really feel like these contributions are valuable. And the positive side of that is that having Git POAPs in your wallet demonstrates that you are a more engaged member of the community than someone who just has POAPs might be.
Yeah, and like Nixo was saying earlier, it's kind of like a resume. And if you're looking to get a job in crypto, this is a great way to prove your worth, prove your involvement in DeFi, in crypto. Yeah, if you are looking to make the transition, this is a great opportunity. There's a bunch of projects. I mean, Nixo, is there a specific site or a link on the GitPOAP site to see all the participating projects
Yeah.
or repos?
We just edited it so you can actually go to getpoap.io now, and you can scroll down, and there is a view of all the repos, and you can click on all repos, so that you can see all the projects that are on there. And yeah, there's some low hanging fruit on there. There are typos to fix, and maybe not every repo is going to want you like fixing one or two typos, so you can go through a lot of them. But most people who are hiring in Web3 just want to see that you're committed and somewhat competent.
Yeah, I would definitely second that. Like, you don't necessarily have to be a developer to get a job in Web3. Like, developers are maybe 10% of the people who get hired. But to find someone who will engage with the platform, will try to understand it, will try to improve it, that is the thing that employers want. And Git POAP is a great opportunity to demonstrate that.
I'm surprised that Mr.
So-
Mojo isn't moving us along right now. It's
Oh,
almost
no,
time.
I am. I have to unmute multiple things. My fiance was walking in the door and it's very loud. And I now have my dog as well, so he enjoys barking when things happen. So anyway, yes, I'm just allowing space for creativity. Thanks, Duke. Anyway, so yes, we are getting to the end of the show. So, Hanny, last week I had asked you to tell me your 3 favorite POAPs for the POAP Spotlight. So let's go ahead and do our POAP Spotlight while we do our claim. So if you do want your POAP from this call, I do believe that the bot is turned off and no longer tracking. So you can go to
No, it's not. It's just gonna give me a minute.
Okay, oh my goodness. Well, whenever it is ready, I guess we will talk about it. But let's go ahead and do our POAP Spotlight while we wait for that then, right? So I'm going to post what the POAPs are in the community calls chat. And Hanny, you can talk about them. So I'm going to go ahead and post the first one for you really quick here.
Okay, we're going in order? Perfect.
Yes.
Yeah, so one of my favorite is the Beacon Chain Genesis Depositor POAP. Mainly because I was not involved and I'm super jealous. I know Superphiz has one. I mean, this is part of history. And you were one of the first validators on the Beacon chain, and to me that's huge. And I'm very jealous of the people that have one, because you can't go back. That's not something you can go back and do.
Yeah, can I brag? I don't think
It's
I've ever
ahead.
said this out loud.
OG.
I legit have a single digit validator. Okay, that's it. All done bragging.
Mic drop.
Sorry. That was I don't mean to brag, but I'm just really happy with that one.
That I am super jealous of that.
Definitely bragging, Fizz. Shut up now, buddy.
All right.
I couldn't wait. The moment that deposit contract opened, I was like, yeah.
All right,
And I was,
so there are 9 options about who Fizz is now. I don't know how much he's trying to stay private here.
what if I'm all of them, or what if I'm lying? I don't know. All right, moving on. Sorry.
Moving on, our next one. Here you go. It's from Rocket Pool.
So yeah, we in Rocket Pool we had a bit of a POAP summer, where there is a POAP being dispersed about every day, sometimes twice a day, in the Discord as we're leading up to the platform's launch. And this one is one of my favorites because it captures. I think it's actually all of the ones that have been distributed up to that point. So if you click on the image and expand it, they actually used like a Boy Scout like badge swatch. I don't really know what those are called. But they replaced all of the badges with POAPs and pretty much tripled up the strips, to showcase the true POAP collector in Rocket Pool. And then my third one is my Project Sunshine contributor Git POAP. That's my baby. I loved the design. It's a bashful sun peeking through the clouds, and this will be part of a series. Every year we'll have a new POAP, and hopefully, as we improve the decentralization of Ethereum, we will have the progressing POAPs, the following POAPs having the sun progressively peek its head out the clouds as the weather becomes more sunny, as does the health of the network.
Awesome. Well, all right. So we have gone a little bit over, but that's perfectly fine. Thank you so much for coming on once again, Hanny. Really love that you were up here. We had great discussion this week, especially talking about consent and soulboundness and even getting the word of Project Sunshine out there. So awesome.
Thanks for having me.
No problem. But all right, everybody, we will see you next Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. Be sure to claim your pump in the POAP Claim channel. And thanks so much, everyone.
Absolutely.
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
And anybody who's got fears that degen is ending, don't dissuade your fears. It will continue on. That's a little teaser.